Let's now talk about presupposition and entailment in pragmatics. These two terms, entailment and presupposition, have been some key concepts in pragmatics traditionally, and that is without any doubt. In the beginning, I'll just try to introduce what they contain and how they have been treated in pragmatics traditionally. If we have an overall survey of how they have been treated, we would come to the conclusion that probably presupposition and entailment and the differences have been talked much about in pragmatics in the past. Recently, discussions about entailment, especially, have have been reduced or have lost their importance to a large extent. But surprisingly, the concept of entailment and presupposition are still relevant because they are closely connected to many other concepts in pragmatics and in our conversational implicatures. So we need to understand them and talk about them for many other reasons. So let's try to see what they contain and what they try to convey to us. In recent time, it's probably the presupposition which has taken more interest or which has taken more attention of the researchers in pragmatics as compared to entailment. Presupposition is a speaker specific assumption or any idea which one assumes before saying something. It can be seen as a speaker's perspective before saying something. Uh, Whenever we say something, we generally assume something as has happened, and based on that, we say something. Whatever we assume in our minds to be the case is actually the assumption or the presupposition. And it is, as I have said a while ago, it is very much a speaker's own perspective or notion about the utterance or the belief based on which he says something. In comparison, an entailment is something which logically follows from the statement. Uh, Whenever we say something, uh, there may be more than what is said meanings included in there, and there might be certain entailed information that would come down from the same statement, and that may not be a speaker's intention to be conveyed. So this is very much in this case a sentence property. Sentences, not speakers, have entailments. We can identify some of the potentially assumed information associated with various sentences by looking into the following example. If you read the sentence, it says, Mary's brother bought 3 horses. Here, the speaker normally be expected to have the presumption, and there could be more than one presumption, possible presumptions or assumptions. So here he might be expecting, or the simplest form of his assumption could be that there is somebody named Mary uh, who exists in this world, and she has a brother. These are the simplest form of assumptions which are there in the mind of the speaker of this statement. Further, or a more specific presumption or presupposition based on this can be that Mary has only one brother and he has a lot of money because he has bought 3 horses. So he is possibly a rich man. This is what has been assumed. All of these presuppositions belong to speaker, and these may be wrong in certain situations. An assumption may not always be true in all cases. So we might see that a speaker's belief may be wrong. Whereas the sentences or the sentence which has been just mentioned might have certain entailments also. And those entailments might include that Mary's brother has bought something, has bought 3 animals, and those animals happen to be the horses. Those animals are horses. And many other similar logical consequences might emerge from the statement which we have just read. These entailments follow from the sentence regardless of whether the speaker's beliefs are right or wrong. They would follow logically from entailment. In order to determine an entailment, we don't have to see the truth or falsity of the statement. It would logically follow from the sentence. And they are communicated without being said. Because of its logical nature, however, entailment is not generally discussed as much in contemporary pragmatics as presupposition, which is a speaker centered concept, is being discussed. So, presupposition is probably these days a more popular and a more researched area of investigation in pragmatics.